Welcome to this final lesson. This is called the magical approach, and it's all about how you need to approach life, problem solving, creativity based on what we've talked about in these lessons. So usually if we have a problem or a challenge, something we want to resolve, we generally focus on it. We kind of take it apart. This is the scientific approach. It's purely intellectual. The true approach to creativity in an environment that is created by thought, where the medium is energy and consciousness and thought, is in fact to simply imagine a different outcome. Because the more you focus on a particular outcome, i.e. the more you take it apart, the more you think about it, the more you worry about it, of course it just gets bigger and bigger within your reality. Imagine that every single thought that you have actually kind of adds energetically to the weight of whatever problem it is. And so living magically is really all about using the strategies and ideas from a conscious creation point of view, helping you understand that actually you can create a much easier life than you have now. You can resolve all of your challenges. You can create health, abundance, wealth, great relationships. You can create all of those things, but you must learn to use the conscious creation approach, the magical approach, if you like, where you're leaning into reality. You're understanding that reality is there to help you and to guide you. Your inner self, your inner senses are there to help and guide you, that your impulses are positive, and that by learning to follow that intuition and actually focus yourself into positive outcomes in a very specific way, that you're able to create and change your life very quickly. And so this is a kind of conclusion, but the start of a whole new way of being, a whole new way of living, a way of being built in trust and faith in yourself, also reality, the relationship you have with reality, and then bringing that all together as a way of life. And so I hope you enjoy the episode. This, of course, in many ways is just the starting point, because actually getting used to all of the ideas that I mentioned here, it takes a huge amount of time and effort and kind of exploration. And obviously, I'm here, and the Conscious Creation Academy is here to support you in what is the biggest paradigm shift that a human being can ever make, when you realize that you are not human in any way, shape or form, that you are immortal. You're not even floating on a planet in space right now. And those things obviously are massive shifts, but it's where you're going. It's where science is going. It's where spirituality is going. And you're just ahead of the curve. You came here to learn this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this in the first place. That's it. I hope you enjoy the episode, and I'll see you maybe live on a training at a certain point, and or maybe online in a training as well. That's it. Enjoy the episode. Okay, so let's have a think about where we are right now. So we started this whole course really transforming our ideas of what reality was. So if we think back to all the way to lesson 1, we really started to recognize that how does the law of attraction work? How does psychic awareness work? How does healing work? All those things. And the answer is it's not a physical environment. It's a state of consciousness. And the medium that we are operating in right now, we can use the word thought. It's as relevant as anything else. You could say it's an energy field. But recognizing that it's thought, and the more that you think of something, the more emotional, your emotions follow your thoughts. The more you take that route, then the bigger a challenge is going to be. Another presumption that we have, apart from the fact that, at the start, most of us think we're living on a planet, is that in order to solve problems, we need to think about them. It's the scientific approach. We've got to take things apart. That's why we've got microscopes, all that type of thing. And we only trust things we can see and that we can touch. And of course, in the first lesson, we really put that to bed, recognizing that the 5 senses just give you one version of reality rather than the whole of reality. In fact, the 5 senses give us a very tiny slice of reality and should only really be used as a feedback system, not for actually problem solving. And so the magical approach is really about understanding how to live in line with those understandings. The understanding that your thought create your own reality, that it's a construction of thought, a construction of emotion. And so the things we need to think about are, A, we know that reality now supports us. Reality is who we are. We are reality. It's soul consciousness stuff. And therefore, actually, you can lean into it. Reality is a supportive medium, if you like. It leans towards goodness. and health. It leans towards love fundamentally. And so therefore knowing that, we can begin to have faith in reality. Part of magically living is having faith that things will get better, knowing that when you focus on something different, that something different will begin to appear in your reality, and that there's complete faith and expectation within that. Also, the fact that there is psychic awareness. Whenever you think of something or someone or a particular event, then that event actually happens, it actually occurs. It might happen in what we will call framework 2, so outside of the 5 senses, but it happens. And so there are probabilities, there are events, there are realities where everything that you want is available to you. You don't have to create anything new as such. The goal is to allow yourself to tune into, to focus on the realities that you want, and therefore, and to have faith that reality is going to actually deliver those, that you are going to deliver those to yourself. And that is the truly magical way of living. Therefore, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to stress about the past. You don't have to believe in karma. You can recognize that you can create your own health. All these things are really all about your beliefs, your desires and your expectations, and then placing them into reality, knowing that they're going to come back and give you good things. And so the barriers to magical living are our over compensation onto the ego, onto the intellect. And remember that intellect and intelligence are not the same thing. The intellect is there just to allow us to say, hey, this is how much I've got in my bank account, and I'm using a computer, this is how this works. But the intellect itself is really very, very poor at problem solving. When you think about it, it's held in the present moment right now. It can't experience, it can't open itself to other ideas, other intuitions into framework 2. The inner senses are not within the intellect. And so therefore, allowing yourself, as you went through this journey, as you went through this course, to open yourself up to different ideas, one of which is, I would say, is that you're quite safe. It's one of the core beliefs that people have in the New Age, is that a belief in good and a belief in evil. And therefore, if they kind of, open themselves up to different ideas, that there is a lack of safety. Completely untrue. That is a belief. There's no actual reality in that whatsoever. However, like all things, if you believe in devils and demons, and you will find people that will reflect that back to you. So you've got 2 ways of living. You've got the intellectual route, the kind of standard route that we're brought up with in school, which says if there's a problem, you need to focus on it, you need to think about it, you need to kind of operate in that world. That is the problem that we have in the reality right now. So you can see the outcome of all that. The magical way is really embracing all that we've talked about and recognize that there are a limitless number of probabilities. Your goal is to choose and to create the probability for yourself that brings you value fulfillment, that makes you happy, that allows you to create health and wellness. And so that's why, in lesson 3, we talked about the power of the present moment. It's to bring yourself into the present moment, 3 to 5 minutes a day, to focus on whatever you want, allow your emotions to fulfill themselves, and then allow your psychic information, allow reality to connect the dots for you in framework 2 without thinking about it in framework 1 in the 5 senses, but simply expecting something to change. Whenever I want to create something new, I decide, right, this is my intention. I want to create this. I know without a shadow of a doubt that my inner self is then going out psychically communicating with people, and it's going to bring that reality to me the more that I focus on it. If I have a problem or a challenge, then the more I focus on that, the bigger it's going to get. And so magically living is recognizing that we switch probabilities, we switch realities all the time with our thoughts, and therefore learning the art of ignoring a problem. It's perfectly valid. If a problem comes up in your life or a challenge, by turning away from it and ignoring it, you rob it of energy. And by doing that, you then get to focus on what it is you want. So it's a bit like, the movement, the flow of energy, from removing energy from one part of your creation, i.e. your thought process, your emotion, and then focusing it into another. And when you do that with the knowledge and the expectation that reality is there to support you, it's a loving medium. It's a kind of an environment created with loving energy. it will then respond to you. You can begin to live a much more natural and magical life, whether that's in business, whether that's finances. Really, one of the areas that I use this in is my business. I don't believe I have to market, in the way that other people would if they're solely based in the intellect. I know that if I want a client, if I want to be able to share my information, if I want to get involved in coaching, whatever it is, that I know that I can begin to focus on that and that reality will then respond, because the power is within you. It's not within the phone. It's not within the computer, although we use these because here this is what we have. But although we do use them, we actually use them in combination with an expectation that it's going to reach the right people are going to respond, and that together as a one consciousness, we're able to help and support each other in so many different ways. So an exercise for you is to write down your ideas about, how do you problem solve? Do you think you have to go down and get into the microscopic nature of a challenge in order to resolve it? If you do, I'd encourage you to change that belief and recognize that you can remove your energy. And I've got hundreds of examples of where I've done this, and people I've taught have done this, where we've removed our energy and we focused on something else. So write down your ideas about problem solving. And one of the three things I want you to remember, one is that reality is a medium created from love by you. Okay, it's a loving, nurturing environment. The second thing is your thoughts, desires, and expectations will manifest. They will come to you in some way, shape, or form. If you believe in devils and demons and that you must protect yourself when healing or doing psychic work or whatever, then you will create those feelings. But you are quite safe. So the first one is, the medium is of love. The second one is you're quite safe. You create a safe universe. That's a great belief to have. And the third one is that there's no limit. You can create whatever you want here within the confines of physical reality. There's no limit for you. It may be that you've come here for particular challenges around health or relationships or money or whatever it would be, or that your broader self, and that is open. That knowledge is open for you. You can experience that in dreams very easily. So I'd encourage you to do that as well. But you are able to create the things that you want, because this is a medium created by you, of you, if you like. You are soul stuff. The reality you're experiencing is soul stuff. It is a dream that we are calling Earth right now. And because of that, whatever you want to create, whatever you put into it, can really work. And one of the main areas that most people struggle with is self-worth. They really do struggle with feeling as though they deserve to be happy, they deserve the money. They put barriers in place. And so our role, becoming conscious creators and living that magical life. And you can have a belief that your life is easy. My life is easy. Things come to me easily, effortlessly, and I have a great time. It's a perfectly valid, magical belief. You can have a belief that I'm an amazing conscious creator. Okay, I find creating really positive things really simple. You can create that as well. So as we know in one of the lessons that we looked at, the power of belief, you've got core beliefs, you've got satellite beliefs, you've got all these kind of mixture of emotions involved in you. And our role to create that magical life is to unpick all that and to make a brand new version of ourselves that leans into reality and accepts that reality responds, and that can take us on into our experience of our immortality, the experience of our multidimensional nature, all completely valid, all completely acceptable and accessible within this reality. You can be self-aware as a human being, whatever that is. You can be self-aware, aware of other lifetimes quite consciously, aware of other realities, other probabilities. Your inner senses can be as honed in as your physical senses. And the goal of living magically is the combination of those two things. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the course. I hope to see you on a training one day. Hope to see you live, maybe on a Zoom if we can't do it in person. But maybe I'll see you live on a training somewhere in this reality somewhere, and I really look forward to that. That's it. Live magically. Remember to go back to these lessons again and again, and when you do, you'll find that if you believe it can be easy, then it can be. And I wish you all the best of luck with that. Lots of love.